Well, it is not a happy homecoming for the Rajasthan Royals at Jaipur. Would you believe it? The Super Giants have squeezed out this game and managed to defend by some distance the lowest score batting first in this year's IPL. 174 before this one when RCB defended it against Delhi at the Chinnaswamy. And now KL Rahul and co have managed to successfully defend 154. It is 10 too many for Sanju Samson's side, an innings that looked like it was hard to bat for pretty much everyone. Why and what did Lucknow get right? Where did this game turn? What were its key moments? All that and more with Tom Moody and Amol Muzumdar on ESPNcricinfo T20 Timeout. Now let's get an assessment of this surface, which looked so hard even for the second innings. Amol, what was this at Jaipur?
I thought it was pretty on a slow side, and it was tough. I think LSG bowled pretty well. They used the variations quite effectively on this kind of a pitch. And if you notice, even Naveen-ul-Haq, who was bowling first time, I think in the IPL, he bowled those slow ones pretty magically, I feel. Under pressure, he thrived under pressure, and he squeezed a win. I mean, to win that game by 10 runs, it's a huge margin, I feel. 10 runs.
If Josh Butler's got 40 or 41, is that all the evidence we need that it's not easy?
Yeah, I'm just recalling the question you asked me about earlier on about KL Rahul and his strike rate.
Yeah.
That strike rate of 121 is looking quite handsome.
Fantastic. I said it was a brilliant innings by KL Rahul. What are you talking, Tom?
Yeah, no. I as I said at the half-time mark, I felt it was a difficult surface to bat on. You could clearly tell that there was a little bit of inconsistency with bounce and pace off the surface. No one, and there's a lot of decorated strikers of the ball in both sides. No one really got going, and whenever anyone really tried to search for the boundary and bully the ball over the fence, they were found caught short, and being caught well inside the ring. Couple just on the ring, but most of them inside the ring. So, yeah, look, that went 150 plus was always going to be a pass score, and to be fair, Super Giants bowled really well. They were disciplined. And for Naveen-Haq to come into that side and fill the big shoes of Mark Wood and do what he did. I know he didn't take a wicket, but he bowled his 4 overs for 19 was a credit to him. Yeah, well done, Naveen-ul-Haq. Excellent IPL debut for the Afghan seamer. But the game, you could say, turned when Marcus Stoinis got wickets, especially the two at the top, because Yashasvi Jaiswal and Josh Butler, 87 between them, and at that point, it didn't matter what the required rate was. You felt Rajasthan had this game under control. In comes Stoinis for the first time this season, Tom, with ball, and does that. Can only assume now that he wasn't fit enough to bowl previously, but he's not lost his touch. Yeah, look, interesting. I think he was fit to bowl, but just wasn't required for whatever reasons. But what he did do well is bowl dead straight, and that's exactly what you need to do on a surface like that that's offering a little bit of inconsistency with its pace and bounce. If you're looking to bowl to the top of the stumps every single ball, it's hard work for any batter to force the play from that position. You need width, you need poor length to be able to score on a surface like that. And which Stoinis did, if you just bowl the top of the stumps with a little bit of subtle variation in your pace, you're home and hose. So he used his experience there and bowled really well. Yeah,
look at the Butler wicket. It has to be a big moment in any Rajasthan game, in particular this one, Amol. And you think, oh, short ball, has Butler just missed that and it's gone to deep mid wicket? But there is credit to be given to Lucknow for that wicket, to Marcus Stoinis.
100%, I feel. His subtle variations were very effective, top of off what he was trying to hit. But I think that Sanju Samson's run out was probably one of the most turning points of this game, because if you see, they had got 87, Yashasvi and Josh Butler right at the top, 87 in 9 overs. They needed 70 odd. They had the game in control with Hetmeyer and others to follow. So I think they had the game in control at that point of time, and then that turnaround happened with that run out. How many times we have seen a run out change the course of the game, and that exactly happened.
All right, let's talk about that Samson run out. Is it just you don't want to be giving the opposition a wicket of luck when anyway it's hard to bat, but there is perhaps an observation you made on why that looked like a mix-up between two batters who are experienced and now would have played a lot with each other?
I think it's just an accumulation of pressure, and it's what you see on a batting surface that is difficult. Suddenly, those easy singles that you hit through the offside or down the ground for one aren't there. So suddenly, the desperation around those quick singles behind the wicket and in front of the wicket that aren't hit cleanly suddenly become more desirable, but they're not there because on a surface like that as well, your inner ring is in as well. You're not sitting back on the ring like you would do at Chinnaswamy Stadium, where cover would be very much on the 30-yard circle, mid-wicket would be there, point would be on the ring as well. When you're playing on a slowish surface that's a little bit uneven, you're wanting your ring in tight, putting that pressure on and forcing the batters to try to hit it past you.
All right. I'm sure at some point a chat would have been had in the dugout that this is not easy to bat on. If not after the first innings, then at some point early in the second, maybe in a timeout too. There is, I'm sure, a way you want to approach an innings like this. Could Rajasthan have done anything differently? Because you almost feel like, oh, right, if that's the way to go, then maybe Jaiswal and Butler should keep knocking it around and should not necessarily get out if a new batter is going to struggle. Is there anything that you look back at that innings? Because Rajasthan almost looked like they were in disbelief after that result. Yeah. Though the entire team is standing on the boundary, they're not walking out instantly. They're almost like, how have we lost that?
Yeah, that's what I meant. When they were 87 for no loss, and suddenly they lost Jaiswal, then they lost Sanju, then they lost Butler in succession. So I think, but they had that depth in the batting. I mean, if you look at the batting lineup, it's fantastic. But it was tough. It was tough to bat on over there, and then I feel Shimron Hetmeyer trying to up the ante over the at that point of time just fell well short of that boundary line. It just showed how slow the surface was. It hit toe end of his bat. I think maybe Riyan Parag could have at that point of time when he was, I think at one stage he was 3 of 7 deliveries, probably had to move on right at the as soon as he got in. Maybe they could have sent Dhruv Jurel up.
Yeah, he's in better hitting
better
form.
Touch.
Yeah.
Better. You need to know sometimes which player has got that ability and which player has got the temperament to win you the game. I mean, Dhruv Jurel, even in his first ball, he almost crossed the line.
Yeah, and what a great catch that was. Do you ever have the kind of chat where you say, this is a game where you shouldn't be looking for 6? Try and hit as many boundaries along the ground. It's not something that you discuss often, but I'm trying to think of whether that's something you even tell a team. Even if we saw Hetmeyer fell, most of the wickets fell. Can you try on a big ground to get this in another way? Is there a different way to skin the cat today?
Definitely. Definitely. This is a classic example of the polar opposite to a conversation you would have around, I mentioned Chinnaswamy Stadium, I'll mention it again, in Bangalore, where your focus is around boundary count. How many 6s can you hit, and how many 4s you're hitting versus how many they're hitting. And that's generally the outcome. Where on a surface like this is where it's back down to the old-fashioned T20 cricket, where it's about dot balls. It's about minimising dot balls, making sure you have a smaller number than your opposition, but also you're hitting pockets. You're not looking to hit boundaries, you're hitting pockets in the outfield where if you time it, you get your 4. If you don't time it, you get 2 at least. And you're always putting your outfield under pressure. So that the emphasis becomes more on the smaller, as I would call, fish against looking for the big fish.
I mean, this is where you have the value of Kohli or Kane Williamson when you have these kind of chases. Is that approach easy for this brand of batters? Yashasvi Jaiswal, Shimron Hetmeyer, Padikkal, they're all looking to sort of hit every 4 balls you feel like you want to hit one in the air. Is that easy enough to change and adapt? Because you don't get these surfaces often, do you?
Well, it's not easy. There's something called muscle memory. Somebody like Sanju Samson is a classic case of see the ball, hit the ball. He not worried about the consequences, being as brave as possible, dare to score those boundaries and 6s. These modern day cricketers. Sanju Samson, Yashasvi Jaiswal, even Devdutt Padikkal to that extent, I would say. So they don't have that kind of a player who could adapt and play that different role on this kind of a surface, where Tom rightly said that you need to hit those pockets. Yep. And in Savai Mansingh Stadium, you will have those bigger gaps. Because of the square boundaries being big, you will have those pockets. You'll have those bigger gaps to nuddle around.
Yep. So. Yep, just didn't happen for the Royals. Avesh Khan, we were saying he's gone off the boil a bit. This is an important game for him. Yes, it perhaps was a good day for him to bowl, good ground, good surface, Tom, but 3 for 25, and you never know, if he loses that game in the last over there, all of a sudden the season gets worse for him. Yeah,
no, look, you can certainly say, everything was in his favour conditions-wise, but you've got to deliver. Yeah. And he delivered, which is great for him because he's had a slow start to the tournament. He's got a hand injury, which clearly is hampering him. It's not, I don't think it's affecting his bowling, but he took a catch early on. I think it was Jaswal's catch at short third man. Yeah. Clearly he's got some issue with a split webbing or something on his hand. Maybe that's a distraction. There has been a distraction around his whole bowling preparation and the way he's thinking. But this is a bit of a breakthrough moment for him. Picking up 3 wickets is important for his confidence. It's important for LSG because, he is one of their, number one bowlers and highly paid bowlers and was highly sought after in the auction.
Suddenly, LSG, they found a replacement for Mark Wood. In Naveen-ul Haq. On this kind of a surface, they've given him that opportunity. He's step up and he's delivered for them. So I think suddenly, and Avesh Khan coming back in form and bowling well is 4 overs, give LSG that kind of a luxury to now and again rest Mark Wood whenever the surface demands.
Yeah, that's it's vindication of a good, sound auction, lots of bases covered, so well done Lucknow. Third wicket of Avesh Khan was that of Jurel in the last over. On a night where we've seen a lot of catches go down, I mean, I don't know how you sum up the overall fielding performance from both teams today, but what a catch from Huda. That's a great catch, isn't it? Yeah.
A superb catch. I think under pressure, it's easy for us to just comment on it, but when you're out there, there's tremendous pressure, especially when the game 2 deliveries, 12 runs to get, and if that ball would have gone for 6, things could have been different. The momentum could have shifted, but having said that, it was a terrific catch by Huda on the line.
And for a guy who's not in the best of form, that was a great catch. But otherwise, can you explain or sum up why we saw so many sloppy moments in the field today?
It's difficult to sum it up. I think sometimes, and I'm just trying to remember back at that venue, there's some venues where the backdrop is quite difficult for the outfielders to pick up the ball. I can't remember whether this is a particular stadium that is a difficult fielding stadium, but I know that there are certain stadiums around the world, not just in India, that you as an outfielder find it a lot more challenging for those high ball catches than other stadiums. So maybe it's got something to do with that. Maybe it's got something to do with just a poor day out for both teams with regards to their ground fielding skills. Who will know? But that Huda catch was a significant moment. Yep,
absolutely. Let's just go back to the first innings and now compare this game. Did it get harder to bat from innings 1 to innings 2? We did see Stoinis and Puran get a move on towards the end. So did it almost get slower?
I think, no, I don't think it got harder to bat. I think it got harder to bat in both innings the longer the innings went. So the second 10 overs was harder to bat than the first 10 overs. So when the ball got a little bit softer, I think it was harder to bat and capitalise. So therefore, we saw both teams, seem to manage those first 10 overs reasonably well. Yep. Not sort of, shooting the lights out, but sort of manage it okay. But once you try to accelerate in the back 10 overs, it was very difficult to find those boundaries.
Yeah, I think that's best illustrated with the scorecard itself. Top scoring for Lucknow, Rahul and Mayers, 39 and 51. Top scoring for Rajasthan, Jaiswal and Butler, 44 and 40, and no one striking over 125 when they got beyond 30 or so. So is this a sign of things to come, Amol? at Jaipur. Did it almost take Rajasthan by surprise as well, the nature of this surface?
Yeah, they were playing there after 4 years, so they must be surprised. But having said that, you know, it's a fresh ground, fresh pitch. So I think things will get better as you play more cricket. Sometimes, you know, some pitches or some grounds are such that once you keep playing on those pitches, it gets much better. And probably at Savai Mansingh Stadium, Rajasthan Royals would be hoping that this pitch gets much better than what they have played tonight.
It's almost been like a hangover game or an antidote to what we've seen in the last few days. We've seen a few Chepauk games, a Chinnaswamy game, a Wankhede game, all high scoring. Do you mind this game every now and then?
I don't mind it every now and then. Just like I don't overly, you know, think it's great entertainment to have games that are always over 200. I think it's nice to have a contest between bat and ball, whether it's courtesy of a pitch that's offering a little bit of slow bounce or a turning surface or a swinging ball early on where you lose early wickets. I think that adds to the colour of the game, whatever format you're playing, and particularly given that we're talking T20, I think it's important that you have that little bit of point of difference, because I think it adds to the entertainment and it challenges the players. It's nice to see the players have to adapt and change their game accordingly.
So would either of you rate this as a bad pitch for T20? Or
no,
is it all right?
It's fine. Now and again, you would love to see. See, this is the beauty of having home and away games. This is the beauty of playing in different venues. In the last 3 years, we were spoiled for, you know, having the tournament being played in Dubai or in the western part of the country. Now it's all across. So you'll have to adapt to different pitches, different grounds.
Perhaps it's worthy to compliment KL Rahul, the captain today, who we've been critical of in the past, but if the use of Marcus Stoinis was a call made on conditions, and he seemed to use his bowlers just fine today. So today's a good day in the office for KL Rahul, who's 39 now, looks very valuable at the end of the game. Yeah,
I think he's had a good day. You know, I think he, with the bat, assessed the conditions pretty well. And he, you know, he has been criticised with, you know, the pace that he's gone about his innings, but I think, you know, I think at times, personally, I think he gets over-criticised in that particular situation. I think from a captaincy point of view, I think he made the right plays with regards to, you know, the bowling changes, and as you say, had Stoinis, you know, into the contest, had the right bowlers bowling at the back end of the innings, so a tick.
Would Sanju Samson be thinking at all about the first innings at the end of this game, or would he solely be thinking this is the batting should have still got this, whatever the conditions, or would be thinking, no, maybe our guys could have bowled a bit better if they got to 154 if it was so hard to bat?
No, I think the first one, what you said, he would be thinking that 154, he would have taken it at the toss. So I guess he should stick with it. And I personally feel 87 for no loss, and from there losing the game, chasing 154, 100%. This kind of a batting lineup should have crossed the line. In the pitch, there were no devils in the pitch. It was just on a slower side. As a cricketer, as a batter, you know, you need to adapt to these conditions. So I guess Sanju would be saying that his batters should have won the game for him.
I think the most important thing to recognise here is that this surface was not a poor surface, but it was a very hard surface to come in and get going.
Right.
So it's all well and good sort of saying, you know, they're 80 without loss or whatever the case might be, but to come in and get your innings started when the run rates crept up to 8, 8.5, 9 is a very tough task. So if anything, the heavy lifting needed to be done in the first 10 overs to take the pressure out of that last 10 overs.
All right. I'm very curious to see if this is indeed the nature of Jaipur and the surface, whether teams pick 11s differently. We might get to see some of those players that don't often find room in the 11s and other grounds, but we could see them there. All right, let's get a quick most pivotal point in the game. Amol points out Sanju Samson's run out. There was KL Rahul who was dropped earlier. Every run suddenly matters in a close game. Or Stoinis' double strike, Butler's wicket. Where do you think the game turned most significantly? Tom, could you pick one?
I think Sanju's run out was a critical one. He's a form player. It's a class act, and you know, he was just wasted.
Amol, you think so?
Yeah, I think I've said that before. Sanju coming in at that point of time, and he could have taken the game away from the opposition. So I think Sanju's run out was a critical one.
All right, I'll tell you what, it's the difference between Royals and Super Giants, these little moments, and it also keeps everyone together on the points table, because you could have had the Rajasthan Royals run away with it. They could have been 10, Lucknow and Chennai, and the rest could have been 6. Now it's 2 teams locked on 8, 4 teams locked on 6, and 3 teams locked on 4. How good is that? I mean, not if you're a Delhi Capitals fan, but barring that, how good is that for what, game number 25 I think we're at now, or somewhere there?
There's a traffic jam.
Ooh, this is an exciting tournament, Tom Moody. Tough to call, isn't it?
Yeah, that far column on the right-hand side is going to be so important.
Yep.
Yeah, well, in that sense, perhaps Rajasthan wouldn't mind that if they have to taste defeat. It's come only in the form of a 10-run loss. And the batters will be thrilled. They're off to the Chinnaswamy for the next one. Can't wait to get there, I'm sure. It's an odd set of fixtures Rajasthan have. They go to Bangalore, they come back to Jaipur, then they go to Mumbai, again they come back to Jaipur. So you'll have a taste of the big shots at some point or the other. Big thank you to Amol Muzumdar and Tom Moody. Plenty more from them as we have our first double-header Thursday in this tournament. Lots of teams are looking at that. You saw the points table. It's keeping Punjab interested. Bangalore must pick up a win. Then you got Delhi, KKR. Can Delhi just make that interesting as well by picking up a win or 2? So we'll have the company of both Amol and Tom tomorrow. Look forward to your company then on ESPNcricinfo T20 Timeout. Download the mobile app. You need to keep looking at that points table. And yes, Tom Moody's right. Look at that net run rate. Anyone who gets a big defeat might come to bite them later on in the league. It's a great result for the Super Giants. They have prevailed over the Royals by 10 runs. They've snapped a 3-match winning streak they've had. Keeps things very interesting as we enter the big doubleheader tomorrow. Bye-bye.